Hello, everyone. This is Nikki, and you're watching the Awesome 10X. This is not a crypto market update. We are going to start the small account challenge. So, this is a self guided approach to help you with $5,000 or less to actually earn some $100 or $1,000. Watch this weekly every Thursday around 3 p.m. Philippine time. And let's see whether you can follow and agree or disagree on how these investments or trading methods can be employed for your portfolios. Let's begin. All right. So let me share to you what I've been doing. First and foremost, you need an account online. So far, I'm not paid. I'm just actually using the following eToro brokerage firm for small accounts. So again, we're gonna teach you a self-guided approach. So it's a do-it-yourself approach to trading small accounts, indices, crypto, stocks. Well, in eToro, you can't use options, but we use IBKR on options. Eventually, I'll help you. I'll try to use Webull, wherein you can open as little as 2,000 USD to open options. So these are very suited for small accounts, those who want to learn how to make $100 or a little money with a small amount of cash as well. So a guide, let's do it. Let's see how we can earn. And obviously, we will not earn on everything. There will be a lot of trades. And if you want to follow me for complete free trading ideas, just follow me on Twitter. I am at Thesis Trader. So what will you learn in every episode every Thursday? Number one, you need to analyze your risk tolerance. How much risk will you employ? Will I lose $50 here? Will I lose $200 here? And so on. You need to also build a watch list. You need to develop your core strategy, what your sector theme is, what the charts are telling you as well. And you need to analyze the profits that you will make on each trade. Finally, of course, we will walk through some trade ideas for you every Thursday for this small account challenge. So let me explain to you what I just did a few days ago. So a few days ago in my account, you can see that my name is Nikki Yu. You can also follow me on eToro at Nikki Yu. You just follow me and click that. By following me, you can see the day-to-day movements of the account. So obviously, around a few days ago, yes, I was short MicroStrategy and Silvergate, $100 each. I did make money here. I was able to close my shorts on MicroStrategy from $285 average opening price, so about 244. So I was able to lock in about so I was able to lock in some $70 or $80 yata on the $100 position. Now for Silvergate, yes, I also closed this at about 82. I believe I closed this at 82. So I made about $50 on this trade for Silvergate. So far, I do have a loss. You can see that my Apple is still at a loss. I averaged an entry of 151. I also averaged an entry on my Amazon here at 118. So far, Amazon is now trading at 120 and Apple is now trading at 156. I'll show to you that account and let me show to you how small accounts is being managed, how I'm managing this. No, so this is a small account of mine. What I do is I have a starting value, I put some money in, and then I release money out. So I withdraw the funds simply by clicking the withdraw funds. Now, you can also, of course, invite your friends. Sorry, I didn't share my link. Although I will try to share my links next time on the videos, no, yung mga ginagamit ko. So eToro, I use that. I also use IBKR. I will also be using Webull for options. I'm gonna choose to explain how to do that. I'll just walk through these things for you. The thing about this is that you can see that with a very small number, small account, you can actually trade the way that professional traders do. You can already use leverage. You can use through CFDs. So take note that when you're using CFDs, you're using leverage here. Meron silang times 1, times 2, times 5, times 10. I usually use times 5. But that, of course, assumes na I'm willing to take the risk. Meaning, if I have a 10% loss, times 5, 50% loss. This is why, example, for my sell Tesla trade here, no, I shorted Tesla $100 worth at 720. When I was wrong, I got the loss 790. I lost 50% or $50 there with that 10% kasi 5x lever yan. Similarly here, no, 111 in a 10% stop loss arena, 122, I was able to lose $50 here. Of course, there are times na if I notice na mukhang kaya pa ni Apple umangat, or kaya pa ng Nasdaq umangat, I exit the shorts muna. So you can see that I had some shorts that I took a loss from, no? So mga stops yan na done, 50% losses. But even if my mga 50% losses, obviously with so many trades I've done, you can see actions 465, no? Of course, may mga panalo rin tayo dyan. So what I'm trying to share to you is the reality. What you're watching here is the reality of a trader who will make money, lose money, but the diary or the weekly videos is to help you na a life of a trader. Yes, this is a living real person, living breathing trader talking to you. How I use a small amount of money to trade and make a few dollars, of course, while at home, while you're working from home. This is useful for people who want to learn how to just get another side income that does not involve too much capital. So, of course, when we mentioned na small account of $5,000 or less, we don't intend to deposit $5,000. What I'm gonna teach you is you can deposit $1,000 at a time. In fact, kahit na in this account, what I did was iniwan ko $800 muna. I withdrew $5,000 recently. Nung nag-profits ako, ni-withdraw ko. Usually, when I make profits, ni-withdraw ko yan. Tapos, I start with a small account and then I grow it para whatever is at risk is really minimal. And you will notice too that if I see potential good trades, I'll add maybe $1,000 and deposit more into my account, which is very easy kasi with eToro, I can do a real-time deposit through the credit cards and hindi ko siya kailangan i-telegraphic transfer, unlike other brokerage firms that would need that, no? So let me give to you a rundown of what my existing portfolio right now is, no? So last night, if you can see this clearly, we can see that last night there was Meta Platforms earnings. I'm wrong here. Obviously, I thought that Meta Platforms at 165, 160 areas was bottoming out, and I thought that the numbers will turn out well. So after hours, Meta Platforms tanked from about 169. It felt about 162. What I'm trying to do here is hopefully prevent my loss to be bigger. You can see that if I could stop loss later on at 167 or 165, I would do so. So right now, hindi pa kasi nag-open yung market. This will open later 9:30 p.m. Philippine time. I expect my $100 to lose maybe about $20 here or $30. Okay lang, take the loss and then use the money elsewhere. So far, as I said, Amazon, I continue to have shorts, and Apple, I continue to have shorts. So far, floating loss yan. What I've done with Amazon and Apple, knowing that the numbers of Amazon and Apple will be released Thursday evening or after hours, that is about Friday, about 4 a.m. Philippine time. So usually tinitingnan ko na yan after hours when I wake up Friday mga 6 a.m. What I'll do there is to watch how Amazon and Apple gets to be how the reaction will be. Why am I short? Okay, so I'm shorting Apple and Amazon primarily because we've seen how so many shipments in PCs as related from Qualcomm and Samsung have been declining. So I'm using a few things. As I said kanina, what you learn here is building a watch list. To build a watch list, you need to have a core strategy, your charting guides. So to walk through a potential idea, let's take a look at the losses and the gains, no? Okay, so I talk here about a simple stock, Apple. Apple's gonna report their numbers tonight 3-4 a.m. Philippine time. So after hours pa siya, no? So I'll basically check it after hours na. After market close, kasi the market will close 4 a.m. Philippine time, 4 p.m. in US. So we will have to evaluate. Take a look at the Apple chart here. You could see that the recent high of Apple, as you can see, is $183. I'm of the assumption, after reading a lot of more in the global industry data, that phones right now, smartphones in general, are having declines worldwide. Your shipments are declining, coming from Micron Technology, which is a semiconductor, Qualcomm, which is a supplier of Apple, and their own CEO commenting supply chain problems. We are of the view that this earnings season for Apple will be a dismal quarter. Okay, so if we are of the view that it's a dismal quarter, how low do we think Apple can be? Well, from a potential perspective, the recent earnings here during April here was able to tank from 170 to 130. No? So you can see that from a price change performance, from 170 around here towards 130, Apple tanked 20% after earnings niyan from about April to around June where it bottomed out here. Since June 15, Apple has been rallying along with the market, but this rally, in my view, was anticipating that Apple is a better earning or mas resilient na company. If that were not the case, let's say it's not the case, then Apple could fall, as I said, 20%. How do I know I'm wrong? I would be wrong if Apple actually has a good quarter and even breaks here at about 165 or 170. Why am I looking at about 165 to 166 as a potential stop loss arena? Number one, 165 is where your May areas were, and that was the earnings around May, then dyan yung mga last recent quarter where Apple disappointed. So I'm assuming that this area of prices is where your actual resistance will reside in case man that Apple has a good number and even tries to break above. Also, what you have to take note of is that Apple is a major index performer. So because it is an index constituent, you have to see how high Nasdaq can potentially go. Since Nasdaq here is 12.9 or even 13.5 around May, that is still 5 to 10% higher. You have to assume that Apple can rally 5 to 10% higher from here. So from 150, the 10% arena is about 165, 166. That's why I'm looking at these levels as a potential resistance, whether that will be a real resistance or not. That is where I'm setting my stops upon. Of course, others will put their stops very, very high, maybe 180s, but I think this is decent enough to consider. Nonetheless, if it does make a breakout, no, I am really of the view that there's a lot of traps being set up for the bulls here. Let me explain, no? So July 28, a few things to note of. You have to understand that this July 27, 28, even after the Fed rate hike of 75 basis points, you have a ton of quarters, a ton of earnings season, no? And most of the earnings are coming out not really in a good shape. We are seeing the same thing happen worldwide. Shoppers are feeling the pain as consumer giants are passing on soaring costs. Most of the companies that have done well actually managed to do that by passing on the cost. So that was Chipotle, that was McDonald's, that's Coca-Cola. They passed on the cost, and that's what made some stocks rally actually. But in my view, this was more of a short squeeze. I would agree here with Mike Wilson warning investors that there's a lot of missed expectations. For instance, Domino's missing expectations, struggling with driver shortage, higher costs. We do have a short on Domino's Pizza. And it is normal to see that in a primary bear market that the S&P can actually rally towards resistance. So you have to have your basic strategy. Now, there will be some stocks that are short and there will be stocks that are long. You can see that from a long perspective, so far, the Senate approving this $280 billion bill to boost the U.S. science and chip production. Although that is a good news, that has also been pricing in since this level of 11, nagrally na si SOXL to about 21, 22, maybe later 22 to 25. I'm gonna take a look at whether that area last April is an area of resistance. Sometimes good news is seen as a potential sell on good news. So we will stick to that. No, we'll take a look at that. Something to take a look at. It all depends on whether the tightening will continue. And for other people, some believe that after two rate hikes of the US at 75 basis points, that would be the last. My view is it's not. So you can see that so far, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq managed to rally off of that monthly 50 EMA, 50 monthly chart here at about 11,000, rallied here towards 12.5 na tayo. However, if we rally further to 13,000, that is, in my view, very high already, and it will just really be a question on your earnings, which aren't really doing well. I'm still of the view that you have to retest somewhere here about 9.5 or 10,000 to price in an economic recession. That will only be known on GDP data tonight. Similarly, last night, Microsoft's numbers, which actually made the market happy, was more of a, in my view, accounting accounting moves rather than really good numbers. You could see that Microsoft, through so many depreciation of their servers and networking equipment, already added $3.7 billion to their operating income simply by just fixing that depreciation expenses. So that to me is more of an accounting magic rather than strength on the quality of their earnings. Similarly, of course, you've seen Meta. Meta right now has just lower and lower revenues. And so far, the biggest move of digital advertising in Meta is Reels. The Instagram Reels, however, isn't monetizing at the same rate as the Instagram feeds, or or Facebook Stories. So the faster that Reels grows, the more revenue that it actually displaces from higher monetizing services. So basically, there's a cannibalizing factor in Facebook's Instagram, that Reels is growing, but it's actually less monetizable so far. In theory, we could mitigate the short-term headwind by pushing less hard on growing Reels, but that would be worse for our products and business longer term, since we are confident that Reels will grow engagement overall and quality will eventually monetize closer to feed. That is what Facebook's Zuckerberg was saying, that they were concentrating more on being more of a TikTok rather than Instagram being Instagram, which prompted Kylie Jenner to make Instagram Instagram again. What you're seeing is that digital advertisers have been pulling back, and that is a bad signal. Or you could argue na talagang FB continued, or Meta continues to have just a relatively hard time with all the digital advertising companies involved, no? So it's not just Meta, it's everyone. So a few things to note. I said that I'm gonna share some ideas. Qualcomm right now here trading at about 153 to 157 is an interesting point, because you are trading at near resistance levels here. Tapos you've got the good news from semiconductors, but the bad news is bad number. So once you are quite elevated here, even if 157 can rally towards 160 and 175, marami kang binubunggo. You have a lot of resistances to be noting off, no? So I have the view now within the week, if I see Qualcomm having a hard problem here at about 160s or 170s, or even here lang sa 153 area, that could be a potential short idea for Qualcomm. So if Qualcomm goes down, obviously there are headwinds to take note for semiconductors as a whole. So watch out for that, because the good news in semiconductor can actually be tempered by the fact that most of your semiconductor stocks have actually reported bad numbers, from Micron to Qualcomm, and that is supported by, of course, other companies, no? So why am I bearish on Amazon? You could see that Shopify had a very bad number. Best Buy also lowered their quarterly outlooks, laid off employees. You've got even the likes of ServiceNow, slow down growth, 6% lower. Qualcomm, you can see revenue came in at just 10.9. Qualcomm also sees EPS lower versus the consensus of 11.87 billion. So those forecasts are really trickling in. I don't believe that 13,000 Nasdaq is a buying zone or a breakout zone. In fact, it is more of a trap. So ingat lang. The good news that I can share to you, though, is that for the last 24 hours, there has been so you can see, no, a lot of negativities in the tech industry. So Samsung memory prices are falling again. This has to involve mga Apple, because if Samsung flash drives and a lot of these are already having some problems, their net income did miss projections. For instance, for South Korea, you're already seeing that the chips division grew only 24%, smartphone grew 29%, a little bit slightly ahead. In the long run, chip sales are growing much more slowly than expected and may decline in 2023. The global semiconductor market is entering a period of weakness, which may persist till next year, where semiconductor revenue is declining 2.5%. Smartphone sales may rise, but only 3% after surging 25% in 2021. So there's a lot of cool down and slow down in the market. You can see that quarter on quarter for the last 7 years, ServiceNow has been just going down in terms of their growth, no? So ServiceNow growth remains robust despite slowing. They're saying that it's robust because it's above 20% growth, but as you can see, it has been declining from 40% growth towards 20% growth. So something to take note of as earnings are coming out. We've got Teladoc tonight losing 24%, losing $3 billion in just a quarter. That just is of course a big burning burning machine, no? So good news and bad news, we're seeing mixed data. From the good news perspective, with clean energy getting $369 billion backing, this should be positive towards your solars, your hydrogen gas, your fuel cells, your nuclear, as well as this one, Germany approving $180 billion funding to accelerate an energy shift. So we're seeing actually sa US, for instance, UEC, where Wyoming and Texas projects for safe, reliable nuclear energy, those are things to take a look at. And the reason why Germany accelerated this nuclear shift is because of their own energy crisis. Just how bad is Europe's energy crisis is today? You're seeing Germany right now, equivalent of more than $600 a barrel in their energy, no, from July 2021 to this year, or almost 6x. So it's unfortunate that this is happening to Germany, and of course for Europe. That tells you that there are interesting ideas to walk through today. So from a walkthrough perspective, if you are on the long side, if you have the view that the markets can continue higher and make it harder for the bears tonight, then you might actually want to add more towards uranium. So all of that movement is giving us a positive read on uranium. Uranium just broke out here about $20, rallying 21 last night. Could potentially rally towards 24 since those news, no? So with that, you can see, makikita mo yung risk. Your risk will be somewhere here at about 19, and your reward is somewhere here at 24. So we will try to get uranium. So how do we do that? Just click URA. We said that you first ensure that you can handle the risk. So trade. In eToro, you can write just how much amount of money that you can lose, no? So 5% of equity, $40. Example, $800, 5% is 40. Let's say we'll do it $80, no? So $80, we'll try to buy this one, uranium, at $21. Okay, so how do I make a stop loss? Traditionally, automatic sa eToro, 10% stop loss. So if it's a times 5, a 10% stop loss means that if uranium 21 went to 19, I would lose $40. At the same time, even if I think naman that I'll just make money in 24, so ang take profit ko would be just around, ang 24 is $22.26, right? So let's say I believe I can make about 10%. So lagay mo, I'll make profits of $40, ganyan. So i-compute na niya, 23 yon, around that. Okay, you can set that order, ganon. Okay, that's just how you implement sample uranium. We talked about the possible negativity on semiconductors as well over the next few days. We can take a look at three things, no? SOXL is the semiconductor bull. We can see some resistance hovering here at about 25, or we can take a look at Qualcomm itself that has already reported bad numbers. So from a bad number perspective, where can it go higher? Pwede pa mag 165 or pwedeng dito na siya sa 153. So let's assume na ma-hit natin yung 160s in case the market's still higher. Pila lang natin yan, no? So for Qualcomm, we want to short it at 160. Trade, click that. So click sell. Write the rate, 160, $80. And then, ganon. Usually I do 5x lever, so you'll just see that. Tapos, gamitin natin, ganyan. Sorry. Okay. All right. So, pending open later, no? Naka-pending. Most likely, stop out tong Meta later. But I'll try to buy, I'll try to get out of it at a break even. So this is Meta. I thought that last night's earnings would be doing well, but obviously I'm wrong. So hindi siya mag-hit ng 185. The good thing lang about Meta is that it's already near the bottom. So even at 169, kahit bumaba siya, a lot of people are willing to buy even at 160 or 162. So I can just wait it out. There are several ways to do that. In case you want to extend your stop loss, no? Right now, nilagay ko stop loss 167 para sure out yan. But you can actually modify that. Let's say 157. So your stop loss would be about $58. Update. Additional money would have to be taken in. So from $100 naging 108 because I moved my stop loss. I can do that later. Kakat ko yan manually instead of automatic. You can do that manual or automatic. So that's how useful and easy these things can be done. Now, obviously, if I have more ideas, what I could do is deposit funds. I can just click deposit and how easy it is to do. So click deposit, put in your credit card, and usually $1,000. So I put $1,000, $2,000, and withdraw ganun din. So yun, that's like my trade ideas for tonight, and we will share to you next week what else happens. But prepare your plan. The plan is mostly if you're gonna go long, perhaps go long on solars and nuclears on dips, i.e. mga uranium names. Very strong numbers, by the way, last night for CCJ, Cameco J. In terms of short ideas, I still believe that shorting semiconductors and shorting Apple and Amazon makes sense. So we will see if I'm right or wrong. But to make that move, I think you need to wait after the GDP and after the earnings. So see you next week to see how the results are. And bye-bye. Thank you.